Guys, I know I said I was gonna get this review out to you on Sunday, but I figured I'd give you some time, you know, let you see the movie, let you digest it. Nigga, you're lazy. Guys, my soul needed this movie to be good. My inner child needed this movie to be good. And they delivered. The day is finally here. The day we get to see all of our favorite cartoon characters come together and whoop some ass. I want to start with the real high notes of the movie. The first 20 minutes are fantastic. Besides the rip-off Spider-Man Homecoming opening scene in the very beginning. Besides that, there's some corny ass shit in there, let me tell you. I'll start by saying that. There's some corny ass shit in there. These kids are trying to interview Superman through their phone and whatnot. And they're like, does that symbol on your chest stand for an S? And he's like, well, it stands for hope. They're like, but it's an S. And he's like, what did he say? Let me try and do this. He's like, well, it's like a river, you see? It comes and it goes. I'm like, what the hell? Literally, the next line, he was like, a wise man once told me, hope is like your car keys. Hope is like your car keys. You might lose them sometimes, but they're never too far away. Literally, that is the first scene of the movie, and I was like, please don't do this to me. I was like, please don't do this to me. The 20 minutes after that is just absolutely amazing. The opening title sequence kind of just shows like where the whole world is. The world without Superman just looks like a world with no hope. You could see it while those opening credits are rolling, and for me, that is just great shit. And then immediately after that, the opening scene with Batman is great too, because you think it's going one way, and then it goes completely the other way, and you're just like, and it literally just sets up the whole movie for you. You're like, okay, I fuck with this. I like this. Let me talk about how much of a gangster Wonder Woman is in this movie. Like, Wonder Woman is such a savage. The bank scene, I thought we saw it all in the trailer pretty much, but no, she's a fucking savage, man. Like, oh my god, she just blocks a whole clip with her bracelets. And then in the scene on Themyscira, when we meet our villain, Steppenwolf.
It should have been Doomsday.
I know. That scene is probably one of the hardest scenes of 2017. I swear to God. They're trying to get this mother box away from Steppenwolf, and all these Amazonians are just sacrificing themselves. And meanwhile, Steppenwolf is just mowing through them like they're fucking blades in the grass. Like, just going in on all of them. My description of that scene does not do that scene any justice at all. No pun intended. I don't think I'm spoiling anything when I talk about this next scene. Regarding this guy here, you know, if you don't want to know, if he, you know what, honestly, we all fucking know Superman's coming back. What am I beating around the bush here for? The scene where Superman comes back to life is so dope. And it's not the fact that he does come back to life or how he comes back to life, because I kind of don't like how he comes back to life, but we'll get into that in a second. If I say that the Justice League has to fight off Superman for a minute, is that a spoiler? I don't think that's a spoiler. Like, cause that's one of the fucking tightest things, like, ever. It is so cool. It is so fucking cool. The Flash, he's running around like, oh my god, No, fuck it. I'm gonna talk about it. Fuck it. This has turned into a spoiler review now. Screw it. If nobody wants spoilers, get out. Get out now. The Flash is running around and he's moving in slow motion. And so he looks at Superman and nobody else is moving. Everybody is still. Flash is still doing his thing. And then you can see Superman's eyes just slowly start to creep back at him. And you're just like, oh shit. And then eventually he starts getting faster and faster, like, oh. It is such a cool scene. And speaking of the Flash is, honestly, I expected him to be like really corny, but he was actually pretty funny. Aquaman is an absolute savage. An absolute savage. I never thought I would ever say the sentence, Aquaman is an absolute savage, ever in my life. There's a scene where he's just calling everybody out. He points at Batman and he's like, you have no powers. He points at Flash, he's like, you've been tripping over your whole feet the whole damn time. And then he looks at Wonder Woman, he was like, and you, you're so gorgeous. Now, is this movie perfect? No. No, it is not. I spoke on some corny ass shit in the beginning of this movie. And when I talk about corny ass shit, I'm talking about Superman. Literally the corniest nigga out there. I like to call Superman white bread because he's bland as a motherfucker. He's just so boring. He's just so boring. I feel like they killed Superman off in Batman vs Superman because he's just so overpowered. And so if you put him in the movie the whole time, he's just gonna be bodying niggas the whole time. So it's like, why do we need a Justice League when Superman can clear the whole room in 15 seconds? There's a couple bad lines in this movie. More than a couple. There's the two with Superman in the beginning, and then there's another one with... oh yeah. There's another one with Wonder Woman where she stops the bank thing, and the villain, the heist doer, he's like, it's unbelievable, and she's like, I'm a believer. And fucking smashes her gauntlets. And I was just like, alright, whatever. And then I want to talk about the worst line in this movie. Hands down, the worst line in this movie. And of course, it comes from White Bread himself, Superman. It's the moment we're all waiting for, you know, because we all know what's going to happen. He's going to come back in the last 15 minutes to save the day. Our villain has his back turned and he's like, there's no truth in this world. And Superman, he floats down and he's like, what is... The line is so terrible. What does he say? He says, well, I do believe in truth, but I also believe in justice. I was dead in my chair, dying laughing. I was just like, how in the world are you on set and he delivers that line and you're like, yep, cut, we're good, next scene. And if you haven't noticed so far, my main problem with the movie is Superman. Here's the thing, we spend 45, maybe 50 minutes of this movie just setting up characters because, you know, DC wanted to rush this thing along. We're like, no, we don't want a Cyborg, Aquaman, Flash movie. We need to get this thing done now. So we spent a majority amount of this time setting up those three characters. And then once everybody gets together, then they're like, oh, well, let's resurrect Superman. And that's when I was just like, wait a minute, like, why are we resurrecting Superman if at the end of Batman vs Superman, the dust rises? Wasn't he already coming back in the first place? So then we gotta spend another 15 minutes trying to figure out how to resurrect Superman and stuff. Granted, we get a great scene out of it, of Justice League vs Superman. But it is a great scene made purely out of recklessness on Batman's part, for sure. Because everybody warned him, they're like, hey, you know, what if he comes back and he's not the same? Even the Flash, he's like, hey, this could be some Pet Cemetery shit, like, you know, maybe we should take it easy. But Batman's like, no, fuck it, let's do it, we're gonna do it, that's our only chance. But still in my mind, like, he was already coming back. And so now we have an hour and 15 minutes of this hour and 45 minute movie with just origin story, resurrection, and then we get like another 30 minutes of just fantastic shit, which is fine, you know, it's not that big of a deal, but you ain't gonna get an A out of me. But other than Superman and a couple other characters having terrible lines and a story that's pretty predictable, it's a fun movie, man. It's a really fun movie. It's what I wanted, it's what I needed. Is it as good as like an Avengers? No, but it doesn't have to be. We could come together and just enjoy what we got, because there's gonna be a time maybe 50 years down the line when superhero movies they just aren't doing it anymore. They just aren't doing it. So we just need to enjoy what we got. So Justice League is a B. I think this movie sheds a light as to what DC can be for the next however long they want to keep on going. They got out of that dark, gloomy pit, you know, all the Batman versus Supermans and the Suicide Squads and the neck-breaking Superman. They're done with that. They're past that. They're beyond it now. They've learned from it, and now I feel like they kind of know how to have fun making these movies instead of just being like, oh, we gotta rush it, Marvel's shitting on us, we gotta rush it. I don't know why this movie has a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is absolutely nonsense. I'm honestly convinced now that Disney and Marvel have just bought and over Rotten Tomatoes to just be like, hey, just keep giving DC shit scores, because this movie is not a 40%. This is a good movie. Alright guys, The Punisher is on Netflix. Goddamn, Marvel dropped The Punisher same day Justice League came out, because, you know, Disney can never let anybody play. So expect that review to come out sometime this week. Like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys. Bye.